It's already recorded. 8:30, I call this meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, good Monday morning, the last Monday of the month.
Good morning.
Yes. Hope everybody's got some concrete in their shoes today because it sounds like we're going to need it. We'll go ahead as usual. We'll start off with some public comment this morning. I'll start up on Zoom. I see David's up there. Do you have anything this morning, David?
No, sir. Thank you.
I see he's unmuted, but I'm not hearing anything.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I have nothing. We don't have numbers yet this morning.
Okay, sounds good. Don't see anybody else up there, so we'll move to the chamber this morning. John, did you have anything?
No, not really.
No, not really. Everybody's just full of excitement this morning. And Shelley's probably here for another item, so, okay. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and close public comment then, and we'll move on to commission comments. We'll start with Commissioner McKinley.
Well, as well as few as everyone else. I had a quiet weekend for county business, had a few emails. The highlight of the weekend for me was finally able to visit the Leavenworth grandkids for the first time in over a year. The old age statistic was I have a granddaughter turning 17. I don't know how I did that.
My advice, don't blink again.
Yeah.
I'd like you to have a grandchild. Once you're about ready to get out of high school.
Yeah, she's a junior.
Yeah.
Leavenworth or Lansing?
Leavenworth.
Okay.
They live on the coast.
Oh, okay.
My son-in-law's in the office.
We're hoping that my son-in-law will get transferred there. So
Oh.
we'll know this month.
Yeah,
That was
that's,
just the moving month, yeah. So
Yeah.
we're not allowed to move
Well-
when they announce it, yeah.
Yeah, he's in Africa.
both of my grandparents ended up at Fort Leavenworth, and that's how my parents met, and that's how I'm here. So for better or for worse, you can talk to them about that. Is that all? That's all you got?
That's all I got.
Okay, then we'll move on to Commissioner Foki then.
Okay, yeah, it was kind of a quiet weekend for me too, as far as business goes. Friday, I did have a surgical procedure at the Manhattan Surgical Center. I spent most of the day recovering from the anesthesia. I got a terrific headache that I never had one like that before. So I slept a lot. So Sunday, I recorded my town hall Q&A session. And it was about a 15-minute recording. What I will do is forward it to Clancy, have him take a look at it, make sure it's okay, and then I would ask for approval from the board to post it on our YouTube channel if it's okay.
Oh, okay.
So I would say that would come up Thursday. So we haven't posted it online yet, so I need to wait for everybody to take a look at it. So.
Just for clarification purposes, you did it in real time and live, and then you're just wanting to put the recording on, is that right?
Well, no, we didn't do it real time live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we did. We asked for questions to be submitted from various mailing lists, mainly because of the restrictions. And so we picked about 4 questions that were pretty common.
Okay.
And then had a moderator that asked me the questions, and we recorded it on Zoom, so it's on a Zoom recording.
Yeah, it'll be easy to transfer.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everything's okay, that I didn't say anything that wasn't correct. So it was interesting. It was, I think it'll be a really good thing for us, for all of us to do. Also, yesterday evening, I went to the AAPI vigil in City Park. And it was in memory of the Asian American women that were recently murdered in the mass shooting. So it was a really good gathering, a lot of people there. And I took candles, but we didn't use candles, we used our cell phones. But it was still light out. So there were some really good speakers that they had. So
that was yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday evening. They were going to do it Saturday night.
Friday night.
Or
That was Friday
night.
night.
I go Friday night, but things they moved Sunday night, I tell them to be left that night.
Yeah, they moved it because of
rain.
the weather. So I was glad I wasn't going to be able to go on Friday, but I was able to go last night. So that was it was a good event, and I'm glad I went. So that's all I have.
Yeah, I thought that was Friday night too. I got the same
Yeah.
thing, and I was actually out of town Friday and Saturday, so I guess I didn't get the update on that. So okay, not really a lot going on for me for the most part either. Like I said, I was out of town Friday and came back late Saturday, so that's part of it. However, on Thursday, I did meet with Robin Cole from Pawnee Mental Health to just discuss some upcoming and future needs of the organization. Talked for about an hour and a half or so, and I think it was the first time we'd talked in person, not through digital means, probably since last February. So that was kind of good, at least from my perspective, anyway. Also, Thursday evening, I joined in on the last session of the Crossroads Manhattan, Crossroads MHK Public Forum. Was really curious to see exactly what all this was and what the discussion would be. And I came away pretty impressed. I think they've got a good and effective path for the city and developing some strategic plans and some direction moving forward. It's pretty good to get as much of the public's input. The technology platforms that they're using to do all this was extremely good, really, really good. They had the ability to do real-time polling off the phone. I thought how they put all that together. I don't know if they had problems with the first couple ones they did or not, just as trying it, but it was pretty smooth and streamlined. And then they pushed everybody off into separate groups to talk, specifically, and they'll be compiling all that data and getting it moved forward. And it'll be interesting to see what direction that goes and what transpires from all that work. Friday morning, as I was getting home and getting ready to leave, I did join in on the, I think it's the last of the general session teleconference calls from NACO. Just was curious on a couple of things with that. Some of the executive people from the new administration were on there, including the secretaries of transportation and commerce. And there was the executive director from iCivics. I think her name was Louise Dubai. It was pronounced several different ways, so I'm not for sure which one I got. Kind of just talking about governmental transparency, particularly as you start to use some of these, I guess, stimulus funds and programs and stuff, and how to properly educate everybody on what it is and what it's doing and what you're going to be doing with it at the local levels, whether it's a county or municipality. I think both NACO and the League of Municipalities are kind of endorsing this particular group and kind of the platform on which they're working. So, and there was also a presentation on how counties can do more with less. This was strategies for cost saving during this pandemic. A lot of it is a little post-dated, I think, at this point in time, at least from my perspective, but pretty good presentation still nonetheless, I guess. And that's really it. That's really all I had. So go ahead and move on to some business then.
First item I have is I made a motion to approve the agreement with Howie's Trash Service for 2021.
Okay. Does require a motion.
Okay, I would move to approve the 2021 Raleigh County Trash Service with Howie's, dated March 29th, 2021.
I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Chairman, please. Some places.
Oh. We didn't get the USDA involved in this one? Take that paperclip off there. Thank you.
Next, commissioners, need a motion to approve the deploying of the mobile command post to Amigo for the fireworks display. And for the other two commissioners, this is something that we've done for how long, Lori? We've done this for a long time,
Yeah, quite a few years.
many years.
That's what, from the right, that's what I was gonna ask. That's my question. It sounds
Yeah.
like something we've been doing.
It's something we do annually, and she's probably been a decade probably.
Yeah. Now, is there staff person that, you do that? Okay. And it's on a Sunday, is that, so the parade is gonna be on Sunday?
Yeah, they do their stuff on July 4th.
Actually on the 4th. That's great, they're having a parade this year.
Yeah, they tried it twice, I think, last year, in
Yeah.
July and in September.
Yeah.
So,
About how many, do you get a lot of reports or problems when you're doing the mobile?
no, it's mainly there for communications. And this year it'll be interesting because we have the new communication system in it already. So it'll be an exercise for us to make sure that we can
See how it works.
communicate.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
A
good.
good test.
Good test, yes.
Good.
If I can get a motion.
Well, I'd move to approve deploying the mobile command post to Amigo for the fireworks display.
Yeah, I second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Lori.
Thanks, Lori. Next, I need a motion to approve the application to be submitted to the city of Manhattan for funding consideration.
I move to approve applications to be submitted to the city of Manhattan for funding consideration.
Yes, I would second that.
Okay, that's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Shelley.
Thank
Thank you. Have a good day.
Next, I have the tax roll correction for Home Depot Development of Maryland, Inc. in the amount of $87,849.76. And I need a motion to approve that.
Hold on just a second on that. Do we do that now if we're planning on appealing, or are we planning on
Yeah,
appealing?
we have to do it now,
Okay,
or else it wouldn't be here.
well, I just wanted to check and make sure, because, I mean,
I would.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's what we're going to try to
Order
do. isn't it?
right now is to do it, and the longer we wait, of course, the more interest, of course, that accrues. So it's in our best interest to get it paid, and then if there would be something that would reverse it,
And this one here that's not the full amount, correct?
it is the full amount, and I'll explain that a little bit in the
Okay.
press conference. But yeah, I don't know where the 150, well, I think I do know where that number came from.
Okay, that was gonna be my question. 'Cause I kept
Yeah, the
hearing
speaker media and
150.
local media all were reporting $150, and the $151,000 figure is the tax that's owed now. The reduced.
Oh, okay, so this is added on to that, so it would have been you'll explain it at the press
240
conference.
something that was
Okay,
originally owed.
okay.
Yeah, 24,000.
Yeah, I'm trying to track down where that erroneous number came from, and no one knows yet.
Yeah, well, I still have a problem proving this. It's what happens if we don't approve.
It just keeps incurring interest.
Incurring interest.
Incurring interest, and that's our court order.
Well, and you don't waive, it's Clancy Holman, Raleigh County Council. I just want to reassure you, you're not giving up the right to appeal
Okay,
by processing this, because primary damage would be additional interest that comes right out of the general fund.
right.
And, well,
But also then we have to, do we send a bill to city and school board?
We deduct it out of their, look, I know this because I used to be the accountant in the
Oh, okay.
treasurer's office. They get a distribution 5 times a year, and one of the distribution will have that deduct out of it. Is how
Oh,
it'll
okay,
work.
that's out. Okay. I thought we had, it wasn't all ours, so we get to,
Right, yeah, they don't
Everybody
write
else
us a
stays their
check. We'll
share.
deduct it from a distribution, and that's how.
oh, okay.
And those distributions are set by statute, they occur throughout the years, which knows. And so there is real impact on other entities.
Yeah.
Now, if we appeal it, are we going to appeal it, or the other county's going to appeal it, and where does that go?
We would be the only ones that could appeal this decision. We're the only ones that have authority to, and it'll be the board's decision. It'll be brought back. Right now, what's going to happen is a request for a full decision has been made. when that comes out, then the appeal time starts to begin ticking.
Okay.
So it's really not even technically a final decision by the Board of Tax Appeals, but it is. There's no stay of a refund.
Now, if the legislature, if the Senate and the House approve the bills that are there, even next year, will we get a refund plus interest?
Well, anything that the court ordered in terms of that, it would have to be, in order to do that, we'd have to have an actual overturning of the voting decision. But again, that doesn't have any, processing this appeal, this refund ordered by VOTA is still a good idea. When the full decision comes back, I'll be discussing it with our attorney representatives at VOTA along with the county appraiser. And I will say, prospects look good. That's probably what we'll be doing. You want to evaluate it because you want to take the right case on appeal. And a couple counties have not done that. No, I'm not talking about Johnson County. Actually, I'm not. The decision, at least one, took one that did not have good facts behind it, and so it didn't work. We're going to appeal this. We don't want to create law that's actually adverse to our interests. So it has to be done pretty. You have to do it with your eyes wide open and reviewing the final decision.
The final decision, will that give more of their discussion? I mean,
It is supposed to.
Is there still only one person on the Board of Tax Appeals?
There's actually two that were involved in this hearing, including a temper, basically, I think it was the executive director.
It's the executive director that can act if there's not a majority of a board, which there's not right now because they're still apparently going through confirmation process. And I guess they confirmed the executive director because that was the first one that was
I believe so.
complicated. So
Yeah, I'd have to ask Greg to be absolutely certain.
Yeah.
There's another one whose whose appointment is still an issue. An attorney from the county. Don't know when that would take. May not even be a session.
I'm thinking it probably won't be at this point, honestly.
Entirely possible.
Yeah, and I did speak to Senator Hawk last night and asked him if he thought it would go through the session. He didn't seem to think so.
I was actually surprised when I learned that the executive director did because they tabled it and I didn't think they were going to come back to it, but apparently they did. And I didn't see or hear anything about it. So it must have just been a direct vote or something. I don't know. They've got many different processes to get things through in Topeka that sometimes
Many
the
rules
phones
that are not really rules.
right, but yet still work somehow. So
Thank you.
Need a motion to approve this, commissioners?
I will reluctantly move to approve the tax roll correction.
I would reluctantly second.
and I will reluctantly ask that we go ahead and say yes or no to that. So all those in favor?
All right.
All right.
Chairman.
And I will reluctantly
So we
sign.
don't have.
You're being forced to sign, right?
Yeah, feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's a benefit to sign it at this time.
Yeah.
The system works. And then commissioners, I have the accounts payable and payroll, as I told you last week. You guys already made the motion. I just need your signatures on there. John.
Did I miss one? Oh, the very last one that I flipped through there because I couldn't get the paper to turn.
Well, I wish I could agree with that.
You were standing right there watching.
No, that it was the last one.
I think it was there. I think he whited that out. I sign under protest once again.
Use that pencil invisible ink, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay, commissioners, ready for the minutes when the board is.
Yeah. Let me know when everybody's ready and we'll get going.
I'm good.
Okay, let's start with page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8. Page 9. Page 10. Page 11. Well, if you want to call that page 12. Page 12.
I would make a motion to approve the minutes dated March 25th, 2021.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Tentative agendas with commissioners.
Got to get back to my original screen there. I just do have an appointment on Thursday at noon, so
We should be done in plenty of time.
yeah, that's what it looks like. Looks like you scheduled that sales tax presentation earlier in the morning, so that'll work.
Anyone have any items for next week's press conference?
Nope.
Okay,
Clancy's up at 9.
Clancy, did you want this at the end of the business meeting or at the end of your time?
I'm sorry. Should have made that clear. Clancy Holman again, using his glasses. Yeah, if we could do it at the end of the business meeting.
Okay.
Fine. I can explain what it is.
Commissioners have, it's not on the agenda, but the addition of the resolution approving the local health order number 21 issued March 25th, 2021.
Oh,
Would need a motion on that.
And let me just explain so you know what we're doing. You do have in the actual local health order you issued last Thursday. It came, interestingly enough, it was approved about an hour after Senate Bill 40 became law. Senate Bill 40 and its provisions regarding what you have to make as a finding before any kind of a face mask order is in place. Those requirements were actually plugged into that local health order. So you actually approved something that had you first been seeing it today, would still be in compliance with Senate Bill 40. So that's fortunate. And those requirements actually involve things that are easy enough to do. And they're in the local health order. You'll recall that local health order 21 is actually not in effect yet. It will go into effect when the current local order 20 expires at the end of the day, actually the end of March 31st. So it's this Thursday is when what you signed Thursday will go into effect as a local health. I say you signed it. You authorized the local health officer to sign it. That is in compliance with Senate Bill 40, which is now law. This is simply an additional formality. It's probably not necessary because it just formalizes what you did Thursday. But in the interest of kind of a belt and suspenders approach here, as my partner on the third floor likes to say, I think it's a good idea because this has your signatures on it. And again, neither the local health order that was you authorized the local health officer issue on Thursday, neither it, or the order itself is not in place yet. So you're perfectly legitimate in now formally approving it, even though you specifically formally authorized her to sign it Thursday. It's overkill, but it's necessary given the kind of expansive new requirements that are in Senate Bill 40.
So if you guys are so inclined to approve that, I need a motion.
What would be the motion to adding that to the agenda?
Just
Well, first you would add it to the agenda. That would be something that's probably a good idea to do. And then simply a motion approving that resolution.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to add whatever the resolution and resolution number is to, I guess, to the business meeting.
Yes.
And then when we get to that point, we'll make a formalized motion on the actual resolution.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion.
Do we want to wait till?
Nope, go ahead, make a motion now
Okay.
to approve it.
I would make a motion to approve the resolution order, health order number 21. Date, would it
March
be
25th.
March
25th.
25th, that we approved on March 25th, 2020.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All three, please.
Thank you for doing that. Again, it is, like I said, it's designed to be very careful because we want to create a good record. You follow all those provisions. Really, following those provisions twice is what it amounts to, but this document has your signatures as members.
So hypothetically speaking, Clancy, since you still have 3 minutes before your turn anyway.
Sure.
Let's say hypothetically, we're in the scenario we were 2 years ago with a potential flood emergency. Does SB 40 apply to that?
Today?
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm sorry, it does. I was thinking of our fiscal 40 does apply. It was actually enacted by early publication
that's-
in the Kansas Register. It does apply.
So
Sorry about
in that particular instance, who's responsible for an order in that particular scenario?
that. Well, I can, what I can do, I'd like to prefer to kind of go over Senate Bill 40 a little bit in my.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Give me a document and actually.
It was just the two. Oh,
Now, huh?
well, no, it's just you got two different sign here's on there. One's for you, one's for us.
Rich, you're gonna have the chairman's signature all over the place.
I'm gonna start signing where you need to sign out, and then we'll hold you responsible for everything here for a change.
And now?
Yeah, we're gonna look for Amanda, but I think we'll do that.
Okay, sounds good. Have a good one.
Okay, it is 9 o'clock. Let's we're down.
One down.
Morning, Commissioner.
Morning.
Morning.
Clancy. My glasses again. I better just stop wearing them.
The glasses or the mask?
Glasses.
Oh, okay. I tried. I tried.
Kind of the mask pointed at.
Uh-huh. That's a first. That is a first.
I didn't know they could be used as a pointer.
I'll add that to the long list of other things that have occurred with these.
Good morning again, Commissioners Clancy Hall, Riley County Council. I want to follow up on your question about hypothetical, there's a flood and who has authority to issue disaster declaration. That clearly the governor does retain authority under Senate Bill 40 to issue a disaster declaration. What's different is there has to be an approval by this legislative coordinating council in order to extend it beyond the initial declaration. The initial declaration by the governor can only last 15 days.
Okay.
Then it goes to the legislative coordinating council.
Or
And
the full legislature if they're in session.
well, this actually, yes, it does. It does go to the full, it goes to the, I was anticipating it would be after the legislature was out of session, so good catch. When the legislature is not in session, it goes to that legislative coordinating council, and an affirmative vote of 5 members of that council are necessary to extend it for any specified period up to but not exceeding 30 days. So they're still very much involved on the legislative side of those disaster declarations at the state level. And we retain the ability, local units of government can still issue disaster declarations. There would be this process at the state level.
So they're not making one of the, a 38th or 39th exception based off of.
Not that I'm aware of, not that I've seen.
When I read through that very long and egregious sections of this particular legislation, it did. I got the indication that they're tailoring and specificing with the current pandemic and not so much.
That's-
Sure.
I would agree that seems to be the motive, right? I mean, to the extent you can speculate on motives on anything like this, but clearly it's more control from the legislative side. Certainly on those orders related to COVID, this has been discussed in the press, publicly. But it's interesting because it did come in, as I said, just an hour before you signed. There would have been no particular advantage to having the local health officer's order in place before then. It would be just one more argument to make that it's not really controlled by that, because what the retroactive portion of this that causes all the governor's executive orders to expire on the 31st leaves the disaster declaration in place. Very careful to do that, because that allows the state and local governments to make application for reimbursement. Federal government possible.
Which I think is probably the only reason why the governor probably ultimately signed it. Well, that, and it was probably veto approved in both chambers. So
That's what was being said. Yeah. So I just want to make it clear that those executive orders, all of them are going to expire on the 31st. The governor has also announced, as you've seen, that she's going to reinstitute.
no, 11. There's a handful of them that are going to go away. That most of them are service based, so having to do with licensures. Several of those things that are going to go away that she's not going to reissue, but 11 of them she wants to reissue, including 2068, which is the state wet mass. So we'll see how that goes.
Sure. Well, anyway, hope that answers the question about the hypothetical. Be glad to answer any other questions you've got if I can figure it out and send it forward. The interesting thing too, what I'm finding is the enrolled version of the bill, which previously I mistakenly indicated, I recall that meant it had been signed. It's not, it's just the final version that's on the governor's desk. So when you hear enrolled bill, that's what that means. But the enrolled bill that's out there on the legislative website, at least my experience, trying all different ways to print it. When you print it, it chops off the bottom parts. I think it's just the way it was put out there. It's nothing nefarious. It's just, it's strange. When you go in to look at a paper copy of that bill, I think you're going to find, be sure you pick up all the material at the bottom. The best way to view it is electronically, because you can see all the text, and there's some important sections missing if you simply print it. You may just watch for that if you print out a paper version. I wasn't going to print off versions and send it to everybody, but you would have been missing a part of the bill. and you decide you do want a paper copy and it's truncated versions, I can certainly get that to you, because it will show you most of it.
I think you gave us one last week, so I have one.
I do too.
All right.
And it is cut off there, and you had warned us of it then.
Okay, just want to highlight that because it hasn't changed. I thought it was something to do with our printing on this side. I don't think,
You can go to, what is it, ksledge.gov.
well, I tried that.
That one didn't work there.
You know, I
either.
tried another state as a resource, so it's the way it was originally loaded, I think. And that ends my computer. There's something wrong.
Probably how it was scanned, I imagine.
Could be.
The scan box.
Well, yeah, and they were probably trying to get that taken care of as quickly. I want to say effectively, but obviously not as possible. So, yeah, okay.
Unless you have questions, that's all right.
No.
Thank you.
Next, Commissioner, you have Amanda Snower at 9:20.
Rich, you said something, you were gonna look at that 150, the dollar value on the,
Well, I know what that is. That is the current tax due. Oh,
that's where that difference was.
yeah, but I don't know where whichever media source got that from. I checked with internal staff and
They would skip, once one of them got it, they all just copy it off, I guess.
think so.
Yeah, that tells you a lot about things too.
I think so. Back. This next door. I think that's just a little interesting to see where CPE, the election, those consolidations, or affecting inflation, the reversal legislation failed, and then there's write-up is from consolidated law enforcement. This is for CPE, so I gave the commissioners a copy. I just thought for historical information, kind of interesting.
Thanks.
Yep.
Morning.
Yeah, I agree.
You make the excuse that, well, they play in a mid-major conference and they don't really play anybody. You look at their non-conference schedule, they beat Louisville, they beat KU, they beat I mean, they play some heavyweights too, so. Oh. So I've got used to that, usually Sweet 16 rounds Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and now it's Monday and Tuesday. It kind of throws things off.
Okay.
I guess when you're playing in 4 separate bubbles within the same city, it doesn't. You win and you just stay there. I guess I don't think you're even allowed to leave and go back. Right?
Yeah, I think they all, once, I say the ones from last weekend that won, they had to stay.
Right. They had to stay the entire week.
Yeah. Try to keep 20-year-olds locked in the hotel all week.
Well, hopefully they were doing school, so hopefully they were focused on. They probably did some kind of hybrid.
Yeah, that's
instruction probably.
Practices.
Yeah. They haven't had any issues.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Interesting to see what tonight and tomorrow's teams produce. It's right now. It could end up with 3 1s and a 2.
Yeah.
Because there's still other sides have bounced around, but there's still a major. with all the upsets.
Who's the other two? The other two sued?
Well, the other.
Baylor, Michigan, Gonzaga,
And
and,
the two is Houston,
oh, that's right.
which I was surprised. I guess I didn't follow up that much when I saw Houston too.
Yeah, they had
I didn't realize how good they've been.
they recruited a bunch of transfers, including Quentin Grimes from KU. So like 3 of their top 5 players are all transfers
Oh,
from
really?
the D1 schools. So.
Pretty interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Who wrote all this up?
Excuse me?
Who wrote all this up?
It's an Iowa professor.
Oh,
Any indication if he was in favor or?
No, I think they're just talking about consolidation.
Just review of how it went.
It's, the whole document's like 150 some pages long. and it's
Well, that's what I noticed.
consolidation.
we start on page 52.
Yeah. I didn't figure anyone wanted to read 100
No.
pages if it didn't speak directly to. Morning, Amanda, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Good day to fly a kite. Bad sign saw the fire at one of the
Yeah, it's the burn note.
fire trucks going out this morning first thing, so that wasn't a good sign. Heading out north.
I guess there was a fire at Taco John's.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, yesterday morning, if I heard the sirens, $600,000, 300 inside, 300 structure, it's a pretty much total loss. Then it looked like from the kitchen.
I mean, from
Yeah,
drive by them from the inside, let's speak.
Oh,
of course, when most of the building is that stone and it didn't burn completely out, so it's hard to say, I guess, I don't know. But $600,000 for a small place like that is pretty significant.
Mm.
You had the fire at the house up there by Leonardville up there.
Yeah, it's 20 drawn highway.
Yeah.
177. Yeah. I know that's.
Yeah. It's 9:20. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Time for planning and development staff update.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
I'm Dennis Miller, Planning Director. So I'm here a little early for the month of April. I just wanted to give you my update as I won't be here on Thursday and Friday of this week. So I thought we would just move it a few days early so we can catch you up on everything going on in our department. As usual, in your packet, you have the spreadsheet of our various projects. So I'm always happy to answer any questions about that. And then I included a staff report of my own with some more details just kind of hit some of the highlights, and again, always happy to answer any questions you might have. One of the first things I want to talk about is the NG 911 committee. Of course, as you folks know, we gave you another presentation a couple weeks back with some more information, and then we're happy to receive your support to move forward with the renaming and renumbering of the private roads that have been previously identified in the county. So the committee met, I believe it was last Tuesday, to discuss how we wanted to move forward. We have chosen Johnson Road as our next priority. That's actually one that they've had actual calls on that where they've had issues. So it's definitely been one that's kind of a higher priority.
That's back behind Target over there, or it's someplace else?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering where it was.
Sorry, I should have brought a map. I apologize.
There's a Johnson Road that's off of Shush. I grew up in the Warner Park Road area, so I'd be right back behind. Yeah, that would be one I could see. Just for the record, and probably already aware, I'm receiving phone calls about this already. So,
Yep, I have heard that. It's my understanding the Johnson Road, several of the committee members feel they're probably going to be in support of it because they have had some issues, with emergency services finding them. We are going to add a public process step as per your request to this process. So basically, before, how it worked previously was the first letter that would come out, background information about the committee, why we're doing what we're doing, and then basically, here's our proposed new name for you, and here's your proposed new address. And so that's usually how it would start. So what we're going to do this time is break that into two pieces, if that makes sense. So our first letter is going to be informational background. Here's what the NG 911 is, here's what the committee's up to, here's why we're doing it, et cetera, and stop at that for the introductory informational letter, if you will. And then we'll give the folks, I believe we talked about 30 days just to have it, have that information, kind of think about it. Certainly if they need to give us a call, ask any questions, they can do that. And then we'll move on with the next letter where we actually propose a new name and propose their address. And then of course, continue on with the process of they can petition for a different name. There's opportunity for comment, that sort of thing. So we're gonna kind of pull it out a little bit, lengthen the process, give them a little bit more informational before, real, issue of changing the address comes up. So we'll kind of try that out, see if that is working for people, and go from there. We will still, of course, just be doing one road at a time. Obviously all the committee members have a lot of other things going on, so we're only able to really dedicate, time to one at a time. So we'll see how it goes. Yes, I definitely did hear that you folks have been receiving calls. I believe even in our office, we've received some calls as well. Because of course we did publish the list, a few weeks ago as part of the packet. So we'll just kind of, take it as we do and just let people know what's happening.
Can you send us that list separately?
Absolutely.
How many properties are involved in Johnson?
I did see it in that packet, but I never got a chance to.
Johnson Drive, the one in Manhattan is Johnson Valley. This Johnson Drive is out on,
that's
on 177. There's a string of houses, got the unnamed road that's
It's
pulling it up here, you can,
yeah,
you can see that there are,
You're right, it is Johnson Valley Drive I'm thinking of.
the Johnson Drive, it's, let's say, goes off from Pillsbury, and then there's also one south off of there. Looks like that's probably all stirred together.
I will definitely send you folks.
Thank you.
The list directly. Okay, so next item, I just want to address briefly, solid waste management plan. We are working on the annual review, and that's actually my next item that we'll talk about in my second piece of time this morning. I just want to let you know that's of course the annual review that we have to do every year. We'll talk more about that. Interviews for our ASME clerical assistant. We held those a few weeks back, and Anita Bloom was selected, of course, as you folks already know, since we all signed the personnel sheet. But she started with us last Tuesday, so she's on her second week. She has returned this week, so we are happy she's back. And she's already settling in, getting things figured out, so we're happy to have her on board. Let's see. So I'm gonna save the master food plan for last. So just a couple things upcoming in April. What I'm hoping to do with you folks is another like planning 101.1, if you will. I want to talk a little bit more about planning's role in our department, and I want to talk a little bit more about our land development regulation update. Of course, we haven't talked about that, I think, as a board for quite some time. Of course, with you new folks here, I definitely want to give you an update as to what's going on. Because we are hopefully nearing the end, and then we'll start the public adoption process here, hopefully in the next few months. So definitely want to get you folks on board and understanding what we're doing and answer any questions and how to get that facilitated. So, and then just a reminder, I'm probably going to keep plugging this until June 30th. The CDBG CV applications there. Again, I still have some money. And again, the deadline is, June 30th, 2021. Looks like I put 2020 in the staff report, but it is 2021. So there is still some time for folks to get applications in, to get reimbursed if they can meet the criteria. So.
Yes, I have on the $33,000 left in the meals program. What does that entail? Like meals for who and who's gotten them?
Yes, so there's two different pieces to the CDBG-CV grant. There's the job retention grant, which we've done a lot of. That's the ones you folks sign the determination of level of review for each of the businesses, like we did them at school and some of the daycares, et cetera. So that's the job retention grant. That's of course having to do with just that, how many jobs you were able to retain, what your impacts through COVID was, et cetera. The meals program, we haven't had as much interest in that. We've tried with a few different entities, but that's your food banks, your Meals on Wheels, or things like that, helping.
There's a lot more regulation.
A lot more regulation, yes. It's not as portable, easy as the job retention grant. We were able to help. Gosh, this was one Monty did right before he left. Friends of Ogden House, I believe is what it was. Yeah. We were able to provide them some funds so they could, I believe, get some equipment or get some food in there. And I did have conversations, it's been several months ago, with City of Riley to see if we could help with their Meals on Wheels program. But Doris and I have talked a little bit back and forth, and it doesn't seem like that group is going to be able to make it work. So.
Yeah, and there's a formula that's involved in that, and you gotta the entity's got to be under that formula or something to be able to make it. And that's where we've kind of struggled to be able to get this out.
It's pretty specific.
Yeah.
But I definitely just wanted to highlight that it is still there. There is still that possibility if there's an entity that can make it work. We're certainly happy to see what we can do. So
yeah, I know there was some group, and I don't know if it's under the food council that was looking at getting a walk-in freezer or refrigerator. Was that part of that?
Yeah, I know there was discussions about that a few months back, and I don't think that kind of thing would fall under this particular grant.
I think it either has to deal with the actual program itself of getting food out and or the food itself, and there's specific requirements on that too.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about the Master Food System Plan. So the Master Food Plan Committee, of course, is comprised of representatives from the county, myself, Planning Development, a couple of folks from the Health Department, city staff from K-State, and of course, Food and Farm Council. I think Vicki has presented some of this information before you folks at maybe a joint city county meeting. So basically, we're getting started on this master food plan. We're hoping to take just this year. Of course, it's a little bit later in the year than we wanted to start, but we're starting all the same. So we're hoping to have this done and before the different jurisdictions early next year for adoption. It will eventually be, or we're talking about it, it makes the most sense for it to eventually be wrapped up into each jurisdiction's comprehensive plan once we all do our updates, to have this kind of section be a part of that. But basically it's going to be a local food system long-range strategic plan. Essentially, this of course, going to be collaboration with different entities. And it's going to look out over 10-year planning horizon. really for the intent of developing a more helpful local food system. We don't really have much in the way of food system planning in any of our long-range plans now. There's bits and pieces in some of the city plans, but it is a bit lacking, and it's definitely something that's pretty timely. So I'll definitely be giving you folks updates as we go through the year. I'm sure Vicki will pop up here and again as well, for sure. Also, I'll bring this up at our department head meeting next week as well. But obviously, because I'm new here, I don't necessarily know all the people who would be beneficial to be a part of this. So if you folks know of anybody, please let me know, and I can reach out to them. Again, we're really looking for a wide variety of different entities, different people to be involved in this plan.
If I understood right, we're kind of modeling this off of the one that's in place in Douglas County.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
So if you want to take a look at that, get some kind of idea.
Yeah, I can forward that to you folks
Yeah.
as well, just for your
Okay,
information.
good.
And again, like with any long range plan, we can model it after things, but it might not be exactly the same. So, they might have had to focus on something more than we will, or that kind of thing.
I think the intent there is, you're looking at the University of Kansas and Lawrence and Douglas County, and for kind of how this type of a plan works. Yeah, it's kind of comparable. So just to get a foundational approach as to what direction to go, that seemed to be the most logical plan to kind of model off of. So, yeah.
Any questions on anything? All right, I will be back in a few minutes to talk solid waste.
Okay. It looks like in the meantime, we've got a press conference, and Rich has got some information to share with us on the dark store. Right?
Yeah, they're claiming it is anyway.
Yeah.
Good. You're welcome. Good morning, Commissioners. Morning. Well, everyone should know by now, it seems like, at least it's been reported pretty heavily by the media regarding the Home Depot BOCC case and that determination. So what I provided Commissioners is a breakdown of the tax impact for the local units of government and the taxpayers. And then also a brief summary of that State Board of Tax Appeal. It's the summary decision that we can read through that and kind of see the abbreviated version of how they came to their determination to reduce the value. Of course, I believe as commissioners know, Riley County had the 2018 appraised value at $6,435,400. After that case was heard, they then reduced it down to the $4,070,000 that was requested by the attorneys representing Home Depot. That is a 40% reduction, Commissioners, which is very significant. And so the question is, the other local units of government, USD 383 and City of Manhattan, have been wondering about the tax impact to them. That spreadsheet on the front of those documents that I handed you, Commissioners, is a breakdown of the 2018 value and adjustments. And you can see, I don't know where the information was obtained by some of the media, but you have heard of the $151,157.77. That is now the adjusted tax value after the BOTA determination case. So previously, prior to the BOTA case, the Home Depot was being taxed in 2018, $239,007.54. After the BOTA determination, it is reduced down to $151,157.77. That is a refund amount in total of $87,849.77. 76 actually. It's a rounding adjustment due to Excel. When we do the Board of Tax roll correction that the commissioner signed this morning, had the 76 cents. That's a different program. This is an Excel spreadsheet, so they just round a little bit difference. So I just wanted to explain that. So the impact in taxes from the City of Manhattan, the refund amount impacting the City of Manhattan will be $29,186.08. The state will be impacted $887.03. The county is reduced $24,194.49. In the school district, USD 383 is the only school district impacted here, is $33,582.18. That's where you get that total of $87,849.77. To the right of that, you'll see one column with one number, the $7,598.40. That is the interest due that the county pays solely. We are the only public entity that is responsible to pay that interest. And you can see that's a substantial number, and
We're paying interest on everybody else's money though too.
yeah, it's in total interest.
For 3 years.
And I know,
Yeah.
I believe Clancy's told you and Greg, and I imagine the attorney that we contract with in hearing these cases would tell you that's part of their strategy to continue these cases. I mean, this is a 2018 case, to prolong them. That way they continue to gain more interest. And so Riley County's total financial obligation, Riley County as the public entity, is $31,792.89. So that is the amount you, the Board of County Commissioners, signed off on this morning that we will be paying back. And of course, as you know, and I've talked to Greg and Clancy both, and the county will have to assess if they're going to appeal that case after they get the longer version of the determination. But just thought it needed to be clarified, the total amount of tax dollars impacted in total, and then also for each of the public entities here in Riley County. What the other side of that, that's the broader picture, is, you know, when larger organizations get a reduction in value, that just spreads out that tax burden to everyone else that is still on the tax roll at their full value. And so that's where it impacts the Riley County taxpayers.
You gotta understand, this is a 3-year-old case, so we're taking those tax proceeds out of this year to cover 3 years ago. So it isn't just about the interest. It's the impact on this year's budget from a previous year's budget as well. So.
Well, that interest, why isn't it necessarily spread between all the entities? Is it because
that's by state statute, and which the other side of that too, some public entities have argued in the past that, you know, when interest rates are better anyway, and the county is holding that ad valorem taxes, that maybe, well, we're holding that money, they should get paid interest from the county, and they don't. And the thing is because the statute doesn't allow that, but then also we're the only ones that do the administration of the tax roll. So that's really to pay for all of those processes. And no other public entity in the county, do you file the deeds? Do you have appraisal staff? Do you have in the clerk's office doing the tax roll? Do you have in the treasurer's office distributing the tax statement and the collection of those monies? And so that's why it's neither one are allowed by statute.
This is one of those where the county becomes an extension of the state by virtue, and we'd have better resources to take care of that individually and through all 105 counties. If you did that separately, it would be each entity basically fighting each other over it, and you would probably end up in a worse spot. So.
Is that interest fixed by statute? What the interest is based on some?
Yep, based on years. I think I have that back. I don't think I have it here, but yeah, it's not consistent. Some years were 2%, some years were 3%, some years were 4%. It all depends on the year.
Okay. But also, does this automatically then roll over into 19 taxes? The 2019 taxes? No,
it is my understanding, and Clancy's probably been versed on this as well, is that Home Depot did miss their deadline to appeal 2019.
That's what I was saying. Okay. So the 19 will be what they can't change that.
That's that, correct.
Okay.
Well, are we going to have to calculate these into our tax considerations for 22, that we may have to do this again? Is there any way to do that? Or?
There's no way to guess that. I mean, as we know, to be fair, there may be new Board of Tax Appeal members, so there's no way to predict which way it would go, how much it would be reduced, or if it would be left the same, or so. Yeah, it would be impossible to guess that. And who knows, the state laws could be impacted in between now and then as well.
Okay, I just, that's quite a hit for all these entities.
You got to remember when Greg gives his update, when I started 2 years ago, there was about 7 cases. And I think 3 of them were, or 2 of them were Home Depot, and there was one other one that had 2.
Walgreens, I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, both Walgreens stores. Now there's something like 14 or 15 just over 2 years. That list is going to continue to grow. So.
And one thing I would like to clarify on this value, the value set by the county, I understand that I've been told by some people in the community that this has been mentioned on social media and various venues, and some people have claimed, well, it's because the county's taxing them on their inventory. This does not include inventory. This is only the land and building, any infrastructure attached to the building. This is not being taxed for their inventory. It isn't done that way for any of the buildings in the community.
Well, it seems so unfair, because Home Depot has a huge business and, they're getting a lot of county business. They were considered an essential business during COVID. So they didn't have to close down like a lot of businesses did. And I know 18 is different than 20, but as we go forward, I understand that not everything's fair.
It's not. I mean, we're taking it out of this year's proceeds after the fact, so really it's not. I would agree 100%.
Yeah, and Home Depot, I don't know if they applied for any CARES Act funding for their business.
They wouldn't have been able to apply for any of the small business loans or this into the other small business loans to the chamber, because that was strictly small and local. Outside of that, I don't know on that. As a corporation, they may have. I don't know on that.
So while this is a significant impact, the fear is, what other large box entities may this happen in also, which continues to decrease the valuation of those, which that tax burden then goes to the taxpayers. And then, right now it's kind of the big box stores that are mentioned in the dark store theory, but it could filter over into other businesses that have high valuation in our community, and that there again would just narrow that pie of what they're paying, and then someone else has to pick up that.
It'll be really, really significant from some of the smaller southeast and western Kansas countries when it starts going through the ag sector.
Yeah.
That could be as much as 70-80% of their total tax revenue, given those scenarios. And those are just estimates at this point in time. It may be too high, too low, but that's once this spark starts, it won't stop. So
not unless the legislature stops it.
They just want to be sure the commissioners had the correct information on what the total amount of the refund is and how that refund is distributed among the public entities that are impacted. Any questions on that? And if commissioners go through and review that and have any additional questions, just let us know. We'd be glad to clarify. Okay, thank you.
Very good.
okay, it's 9:45, Amanda.
All right.
Just for the record, Amanda Smeller, Planning Director, back to talk about the solid waste management plan that we have. So we did an update with this plan. Again, this plan is a long-range countywide plan for solid waste, of course, countywide. That's obviously all the different solid waste, recycling, yard waste, food waste, et cetera, et cetera. And we are required by the Kansas state statute to have this plan and also to conduct an annual review to see if there's anything that needs to be changed, or mostly anything that we identify to place on the next 5-year update that we'll want to review and see if we want to update as part of that. The next major review is in 2024 for this plan. So again, this was just a basic annual review. So there are a few things that we did make modification with the plan. As you see, it's basic information. It's basic changes that we did. Obviously, we updated the committee member roster to reflect correct names and information and contact information. We did a few language modifications for clarity and correction. Just a couple processes that were corrected, and just a few modifications of language just to clarify what we're trying to say, and then added a few acronyms. So those are the majority of the changes that we're incorporating into this annual review that we saw impacted in the track changes version. That's all we're going to do for this round. As you see here, there's a few items that we will put on our list for the 5-year plan update that will get started in a couple of years for. Obviously, some of the studies will need to be looked at and see if we need to update them or use information that's a little bit more updated than what's in the current plan, of course. The tables, same thing. Of course, the last 5-year plan was done in 2019. So, of course, it used data from 2019 prior. So we'll probably look at updating, whatever's available to use for the next update. Goals, obviously, there's a lot of goals that do reflect specific deadlines, 2020, 2021, et cetera. We'll look at updating those, that major update in a few years. And then determining if the plan should include figures and information from some of the other entities like NBAF and KSU and Fort Riley, et cetera. So we're proposing to look at all that when we do our next 5-year review due in 2024. Another thing that did come from our committee discussions earlier this year as we were looking at this plan is there's pretty much nothing in the plan or in our policy or procedure here at the county regarding lithium ion battery recycling. And it is my understanding, it's the committee's understanding from Mike Kohler, our also hazardous waste director, that these are an issue. So it's definitely something that we want to take a look at and see what we need to do to address that, get some education out to the public, and then that'll be wrapped into the next 5-year update as well. So what I have before you folks today, basically, I just need your approval of the annual review that the Solid Waste Management Committee conducted, the changes that are shown in track changes version in your packet. How that works is, of course, everything will get sent to the state for their final approval, and they just need to see minutes from the county commissioners meeting, reviewing and approving the proposed annual review. Questions?
Look, I didn't read all 137 pages, but I did go through it. But and the one thing I know about the lithium ion batteries, because I know that all my tools have those now, and that's a big thing. But I didn't realize that the vaping things have them in there, and that's one thing that the bigger batteries people know you got to dispose of, but those old things, I'm sure everybody just tosses them away. But there's stuff in those that are causing problems.
Yes, yeah, Mike has reported that, the vape pens, e-cigarettes, in addition to lithium ion batteries are a hazard for sure, can definitely be a fire hazard, and just kind of trying to figure out how we recycle those or take care of those is what we're trying to figure out, so.
Do you need a motion?
I'll move to approve the what's this called? Solid Waste Management Plan Annual Review for forwarding to the KDHE.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you
Thanks,
very
Amanda.
much.
Do you actually have a second?
Yeah.
Me too. After he's done, I had a question on something else too.
Do we have anything else?
Clancy is waiting for something.
Yes. Now at least learn to catch them as they fall.
I understand. I have the same
I can
thing.
see you. Clancy Holman, Riley County Council. I've been unable to get in touch with our trial attorney who handled the Home Depot case. But it's a great question about whether or not by issuing a refund right now, we would waive an appeal. So reluctantly, I'm going to ask the board to reverse that decision today to issue a refund. I don't want to waive that. And I'll know by Thursday. Probably find out later today. But you won't meet again until Thursday, whether that should be processed. I don't want to get that up. By virtue of generating a very fast refund. There'll be additional interest. It doesn't change any of the information that Rich provided. There's a great description of how this impacts the local taxing entities. So as I said, reluctantly, I'm going to ask you to reverse that decision to issue the refund today. I want to confirm from the attorney who handled it whether or not that's a waiver. Because I want to make sure that that right's preserved. So sorry about that.
So just keep in mind, there may be a little bit of extra incurring of interest in the
Few more
process.
days
But
in.
Or a couple days, right?
yeah, but
Yes.
I'll take that over, try to get
Yeah.
the entire
Lose
full
the
amount,
appeal.
including all interest at that point.
Well, and I don't want to put us in a position where we've given up something. we don't have to.
Right.
So it may come back still. We may review that and I'll be involved in the decision as well. I told Ray I want to participate in that conversation. But Mike's one of the best in the state with these kind of things. Without his advice on whether or not this constitutes a waiver was raised by the board. Thank you for raising that question. This was kind of, really, this is caused by the virtue of the fact that we're so fast in terms of processing these kind of decisions. And I wasn't thinking carefully enough about that until you asked the question.
Well, there's got to be some other case precedent somewhere else where this has also occurred to see what they've done and not done.
There may or may not be, but I'll rely on,
Right.
once Mike and I talk it through a little bit.
Okay.
And make sure, we don't want to, if we have a very good case to appeal, I don't want to build in inadvertently a very good argument that the court doesn't have jurisdiction. So that was a perfect thing to raise. So, I'll err on the side of caution. Sorry about that, but I think it's the right thing to do.
So how do we do that? Move to reverse or
Move to unapprove.
I'll say reverse the motion to approve the tax roll correction for Home Depot. That work, Clancy?
Yeah,
If
that
you have any other
absolutely.
verbiage you'd like,
No, I think that's it. And I apologize for having to do this, but I think it's the right thing.
Yeah, okay.
Doesn't mean you won't be approving it on Thursday, but I want to be real sure.
Yeah.
That if you do so, we're not leaving a hanging curveball there for the other side on the field.
Hey, personally, if you pay that back out, how do we expect to get it back?
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about.
Well,
there'd be a judgment.
ordinarily you would have a
Yeah.
judgment,
Yeah,
but
how long
and
does
if
that
Mike,
take?
if we talk it through and Mike says that's what's been routinely done or something, okay, fine. But I want to know that before we proceed.
I kind of do too. That's why I
Yeah.
brought it up.
No, I'm glad it was brought up. Pays to listen to clients.
Wow, that's a first.
I said now and then.
So what did you say the motion would be?
Move to reverse the motion to approve the tax roll correction for Home Depot.
That right there. That's the motion.
That's the motion,
That's the
right?
motion.
Okay. We would move to
I need
make that
someone to make that
motion.
motion.
Yeah.
We as in you? You make that motion?
Yes, I would make the motion to reverse the tax roll decision we made in this morning's meeting on the Home Depot case.
and I'll second.
Okay, been moved and seconded for reversal. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Given a short meeting today, the circumstances, I think it's appropriate.
Okay.
Thanks very much.
Okay.
Right.
A little better.
Okay, do we have anything else outside of that?
I do not, Commissioners. I don't know if Clancy has anything.
No further surprises from me.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
okay.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded for adjournment. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a good week, commissioners.
All right.
Do. Are we still on Zoom?
Yeah, I don't think it's come down.
Huh?